this is Belinda. Welcome back to my channel. I'm here today to share this cute layout that I created using some photos of my son Jack. I used papers and embellishments from the Felicity Jane Lindsey kit, and this cut file came in the Ali Edwards Pieces Story Kit Classroom. So it's a really cute little heart frame which I cut out using my silhouette. I cut one piece out with one of the green papers from the kit, and then I've cut two additional copies using just some plain white cardstock. And the reason I did that was I wanted to layer them up to give the frame just a little bit more depth. It wasn't quite as thick as I would have liked it to be, but in the end I'm happy with the effect. So what you're seeing me do here is using the fine line glue bottle that I have, which I have so much trouble with, but I have used it, and I'm just running some glue along the very thin frame there and then sticking them together and just using my fingers to line up the pieces and popping a little bit of extra glue in there because it did come undone. So this layout, as you will later see, is also known as the layout that killed my very old sewing machine. I do some stitching a little bit later on in the layout, which resulted in my sewing machine foot pedal basically blowing up and started smoking under the desk, but I'll get to that later. So right now I've got my background papers ready. You'll see that I've reused that green paper for the mat. Didn't bother me that the heart was taken out of the middle of it because I'm laying down some white textured cardstock on the top. And I'm just playing around here with how I want the elements to go before I stick that heart frame down, once again using the fine line glue bottle. I'd love to know if anybody else has as much trouble with these as I do. This is the third bottle that I've been through. The first two broke within a very short period of time, and I always have so much trouble getting the glue out of them. So if there's a special technique or a particular type of glue that you recommend, I would love for you to leave me a comment and let me know what that is. So now that I've got that frame down, I'm going to go ahead and stick my photo pieces inside the frame. I had to play around with these a little bit in Photoshop just to get the orientation right, to make sure that in the photos where he was looking on one side of the frame that he's looking in towards the layout rather than out of it. So my journaling I've done in strips, as I'm so fond of doing, and this time I've just run them through my Xyron machine. I find that's a really effective way of getting adhesive onto the back of those really thin strips of journaling. And although it seems a little bit wasteful, I'm pretty happy with it because I do try and maximize it where I can. So for my title, I've grabbed this Love rubber piece, which came in the Felicity Jane kit. I've also had a look through my stash and found these very old Dear Lizzie alphabet stickers, green alphabet stickers. And then I've got some gold glitter alphabet stickers, and I actually have no idea where they're from because they don't have any packaging with them anymore. But I'm spelling out my title, Love You to Pieces, and just mixing up the alphas there to give it a little bit of interest. And my favorite positioning tool, those little tweezers, they are so helpful for me. Just using those to pop the YOU into place, and then I will use them again to get those last two words into place. And then in a moment you're going to see me grab a date stamp and just add the date to the bottom of that journaling. And then we'll cut forward to the layout with the gold metallic stitching around the edge. And I have left a little bit of time in the video here just to talk you through what happened. I did turn the camera off when I was doing the stitching, and I'm really glad that I did because it took me a really long time. I think I had to rethread my machine probably 12 to 15 times trying to get it around this page. It just kept breaking and breaking and breaking and breaking. And then in the end, I stopped sewing, and suddenly, as I was changing the needle back from the metallic needle to a regular needle, the machine started sewing all by itself. I turned it off, I turned it back on again, and that's when I looked down at the pedal and saw smoke billowing out of it. The machine itself would be a good 30 to 40 years old. It was originally my mum's, so it's had a good long life. I'm a bit sad to let go of it, but I do have a new machine now and it is amazing. So to embellish this layout, I've used a paper punch that I have to punch out a couple of papers, a couple of flags from some of the papers in the kit. And then I'm using that fine line again to attach them to a piece of the gold metallic thread. Now the metallic thread's really very thin, so you don't really see it a lot in the video, but it does stand out in real life. So I've used my scoreboard to score a line at the top of those flags just to make it a little bit easier to fold over, and then I'm using my thumbnail to just really push down hard on that glue until it catches. And then I haven't showed you me gluing down the other two because it's basically the same process, but I've just glued them, attached them onto that thread so that they're side by side next to each other before I go and pop it onto the layout. So I've got those finished off now and I'm popping them down on the layout. You'll see off to the top right there, I've got a little plate with some embellishments that I had collected before I sat down and started to work on this layout, just some things that I thought I might like to use. So I've got these Chamel buttons, and I've also gone away and grabbed a set of buttons which were from Cocoa Vanilla, and I've decided to use those to anchor down that little flag embellishment down the bottom. So I'm just adding some adhesive to the back of those flags to stick them down on the page first. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that it was out of focus here. I'm only just seeing that now, but you can still see what's going on. So I'm going to stick the flags down first and then stick those little buttons on either side, which is just anchoring that embellishment. This little rubber piece here says "with all my heart," and I really loved it, and I had fully intended on using it on this layout, but in the end I just couldn't really find anywhere to make it work. So what I've got now is on my desk I have a little bowl which is filled with a whole bunch of punched hearts. I've also got one with punched stars, and I've got lots and lots of tiny gold glitter hearts in that bowl. So I've just pulled out a whole bunch of gold glitter hearts and popped them down on the layout because I know I'm probably going to use those. I've also got some larger gold glitter heart stickers from DIY Shop, and I've already put one of those down onto the flag. So now I'm just having a look at what I want to do with the rest of those flags, whether I want to do something different on each one or whether I want to try and keep it fairly consistent. In the end, I decide to stick with something a little bit consistent. So I've got those larger gold glitter hearts on the two outside flags. And I really loved this little bow tie paper clip, but as with the rubber with all my heart piece, I just couldn't really find anywhere to make it work. So on that middle flag, I've grabbed a small heart punch that I have, and I've just punched another heart from the green background paper, and I'm popping that down along with a little wooden person, which I believe came from Studio Calico many years ago. I've had them sitting in my stash for a really long time and I've never really used them, but I did recently see on YouTube, I believe, somebody else using them, and it really inspired me to get them out and start using them up because I do have a lot of them. Still trying to make that "with all my heart" rubber piece work, but in the end it's just not going to make it. So I do have to put a little gold heart up there on the heart frame. Somehow one of my photos ended up with a corner chopped off, so I've popped the heart up there just to cover that up. And then to finish off my layout, you're just going to see me going through and gluing down a whole bunch of those gold glitter hearts in all different sizes. I've got some really tiny ones and then some kind of small ones, and I'm just sticking those down in no particular order, just where I think that they are needed on the layout. So there are some close-up photos if you would like to see those at the end of the video. Thank you for stopping by. If you do like what you'd seen, I would love for you to give me a thumbs up. And of course, if you want to stay in the loop with any upcoming videos that I have, please go ahead and subscribe. And I hope you have a great day.